So my wife and I recently bought a new vehicle. We went to the dealership, we negotiated, and later on this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what we bought. I'll tell you what we paid for it. We'll go through the whole process of showing, okay, from start to finish, what did we do to be able to get the deal that we got out of this dealership. My wife's here on the mic too today. I'm going to give the rundown of everything that happened, but she's going to keep me in check, make sure I don't embellish anywhere where I'd want to. My
You
story,
would do that.
just a little bit, but my story might have been okay. I walked into the dealership, punched the salesman right in the face. Then the sales manager came out, and then I punched him right in the face. And then you know what? By the end of it, all the punching was done. They just gave us the vehicle for free. That's not what happened, but that's how it might have happened in my mind. So my wife's here to be able to fill in the gaps of what I miss of any of the punches that I forget. F&I manager hit him too. Anyway, so we initially wanted a Sienna. We did some research, can't get them on the ground. And we decided that we wanted to go a different route. So we started looking at Honda because they actually have Odyssey sitting on the ground right now. So there was a Honda dealership right next door. So we meandered next door after we were checking out to see if they had a Sienna at this Toyota dealership. And we looked at this Honda Odyssey, and we really hadn't done any research on it yet. We got in it, looked good, whatever. So we said, okay, well, this looks like something that we might like, but we haven't done any of our research. So we went home, we looked into it, and after we looked at all the features, looked at like the torque difference, the power that's going to come from Sienna versus Odyssey, looking at the trim levels, how much it would cost, how much we could actually negotiate off of an Odyssey versus a Sienna. We decided that the Odyssey is actually going to be something that we would rather have, and I think they have just as many cup holders as the Sienna. So my wife was happy about that. So we went to the Honda dealership the next day, and we test drove it. Always recommend you test drive something before you buy it, even if it's a brand new car. You want to know how it feels, everything like that. So we did that, and we were not expecting to buy that van that day because they had markups on the van. We really just were thinking that we were going to use the dealership just to put our hands on the van, just to drive it for a little bit and see if we liked it. We figured we would have to go to another dealership. We knew of a couple other Honda dealerships in our area where they didn't have crazy add-ons like this particular dealership did. So that's why we thought we were just going to be test driving the car and then going to another dealership and kind of pit them against each other to have to do this negotiation thing. We were going to do legwork. It's frustrating. The whole system, as far as the way the car dealership network is set up, whatever their pricing, I mean, you literally have to go into battle, it almost seems, to be able to get a good deal on a car. And we were prepared to do that, and then go to another dealership and then do the same battle over again, and then go back with that price to another dealership. We were willing to do all this. We did not think that we would be buying that van at that dealership that day. So what happened was we test drove the car. We walked in. We sat with the salesman, young guy, 23 years old. Said he had 4 kids. Who knows? Maybe he had 4 kids. I don't know. He seemed like he was being honest about it, but he was a salesman. So my wife can gauge if she thought he was telling the truth.
He seemed like he was telling the truth. He did, though, only show us a picture of one. So
yes, that is a great point, baby. So my wife looks into all these murder mystery stories and things like
that
that.
is
And
inaccurate. Oh my goodness, you described me so badly.
anyway, you could. I think he was lying. I think he only had 1 kid, and he was trying to
No,
say he had 4 to make us give him more money. Anyway, I
no,
saw through the lies.
no.
And he sat down at the table across us, and he said, "Okay, I got you some numbers." And he put them down in front of us, and Actually, before he even brought us numbers, what did I say? I said, okay, you know what? Don't bring us the first. Go ahead and talk to your sales manager. Bring us the second number. We need the second number, because we know we're not taking the first number. So I really think he brought us the first number the first time, though. So he did yeah, he did not cooperate the first time.
Quick pause.
Anyway,
For those that don't know, that's sarcasm. Okay, continue.
all right. Anyway, he laid the what he said was the second number down on the table. I knew it was the first, but he laid what he said was the second number down on the table. And there was, I don't think they took anything off of it. And I said, well, you know what? I've done my research and I know that I can get 10% off of MSRP on this Odyssey. And I know I don't have to pay any of these add-ons. And I am more than willing to go to, I mentioned the Honda dealership that was in the next town over, go to them and ask them the same thing. But I'm going, if I'm willing, I'm ready to buy one right now if you're willing to give me 10% off MSRP on this Odyssey. And he said, there's no way we can do that. I've never been able to do that. And you know what? I'm just going to have to go get you my business card. So he did the little act where he got up. So you know what we did? We got up too. And when he went into his sales office, we walked and we waited by the front door. And he came out of the sales office and he went straight past us like he was going right back to the desk. So he thought that we were going to be right at the sales desk when he was bringing these numbers back out. And we had to flag him down, say, yo, we're over here. We're ready to bounce. We're just waiting on your card. And he said, no, come back over to the sales. I said, no, we were ready to bounce. You said you're going to grab your sales card. I mean, your what's it called? Business card. There you go. And so we went back and sat down with him. And to our surprise, he got very, very close. It was about $500 off of what we were saying. So instantly, I'm just saying that we said we want 10% off of this Odyssey, and that's what we're going to take. And then we got up and went to the door. And the second number is supposed to be the third number, but the second number that he gave us was within $500 of what we were actually asking to get the van. So instantly, they knocked off $7,000. All the add-ons, everything, just by me saying I want 10% off the van and I will leave. So just to give you a tip of if you're going into a negotiation with a new car dealer, make sure you know exactly what you want to pay and be willing to walk out the door and show them that you're willing to walk out the door. And also you have to show them that you're serious too. When I walked it, when we said that, I said, I will buy it literally right now. If you go get these numbers for me right now, put them in front of me, I will shake your hand. I will buy this van right now if you get this to me. And if not, fine, I'll bounce. So just be willing to walk away from the deal, especially if you're a new car. My grandfather used to say something all the time when I would go to the auction and I would miss a car by like $100, $200 just because I wasn't willing to pay that. And then after the fact, I'd be like, oh, Grandpa, you know what? I should have just paid that $100 more. I should have raised my hand one more time and got that car. My grandpa would say the same thing every time. Said, son, they make them every day. And used cars maybe is not the best analogy to use because used cars are all different. But when you're talking about new cars, he's absolutely right. They make them every single day. So if you can't get a deal done where you want it at that dealership, just go to the next one. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so be willing to leave. That's one thing that we were willing to do. We were at the door. I'm lost where I'm at in the story. But you go. Yeah, you go.
One step further. We were not just willing to leave. We had an actual plan of where we were going to go next. So it was supernatural in the conversation to just say, we're literally, we told them where we were going to go. And, just said, that's fine. We're just looking for the best deal. They've got them on their lot right now, too. So this isn't going to be that difficult. And the other thing is he kept asking if we were going to be financing. And we just didn't answer.
Yeah. So whenever he was asking if he said, if tell me, are you financing? Because that will give me a little bit more leeway when I'm talking numbers. And I said, you know what, let's just get numbers first, and then we'll talk about how we're going to arrange for payment or whatever after we get numbers. But I want numbers first. And there wasn't much pushback on that. I was surprised about that, honestly. As many of these videos that I've watched on YouTube. Now, I'd like to call myself an expert on the car market. I'm not. I just whatever. I'm nobody. But I have a used car dealership, but I don't have any experience buying a brand new. I have literally never bought a brand new car in my life. My wife has never bought a brand new car in her life. We have never owned a brand new car. And this is the first experience that we've ever had actually negotiating for a new car. But I was very surprised that that financing wasn't a bigger pushing point from the salesperson, from the sales manager, after all the things that I've heard of. I've interviewed a franchise manager, and he said 100 times over they would rather finance, and it makes a big deal in the kind of deal that you're going to get. It didn't seem like an issue at all for us, but we just said that, you know what, we're just going to deal with financing, and we'll have a discussion about that after we get pricing. So after we said that, we were okay to just work out the out the door number. That's another big tip too. When we were negotiating, I literally worked out 10% off of MSRP. I added their doc fee, and I added our tax tag, title, everything. And then I got the out the door number myself, and I wrote it down for him and had him take that back to his sales manager. So I am lost at where I am in the story though, baby. So where are we at?
Well, you this is where you were just saying that you wrote that down. I think that you're just continuing through it. So like, we were not going to finance. He comes back, he's close to the number, and then Brandon just got silly.
I think well, no, I think I got silly before that. I have to step back.
Oh, no, it was a little bit,
yeah. So I did all the math. I broke down the numbers. I said, okay, and this is what I want to pay for, and I circled it. And then I said, but if it helps, let me circle it again. So I circled it twice for him. I really think that was a turning point in the negotiation, me circling that number twice. So very, very important tip going forward. When you have the number, make sure you circle it, but then you look the salesperson in the eye and you say, but you know what? Here's what I'm going to do for you. And if he's a young guy, you can call him son. That really helps. Sport works. But you circle it again. But while you're circling it, don't look down at the number. You look that gentleman in the eyes. And you say, okay, but I'm gonna circle it twice just for you. And then I think that's what really helped.
Okay, one more quick little break for a disclosure. Everyone, that's sarcasm. In case you're not.
This is real. This is what you do in negotiation.
Though technically, he did do that. That is actually an accurate description.
Did you get a great deal on a Honda Odyssey, or did your fantastic husband get a great deal on an Odyssey?
You did great. I'm just talking about the second circle. I don't know if that's what did it.
We would have never got that deal without that second circle. I don't think you're listening. All right. Okay. So anyway, after I circled it twice, he looked at me and said, well, how do you know that you can get 10% off this Odyssey? And I said, well, we've done our research, and I've also I've got a buddy who's a car broker. I've been able to talk to him. Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to just have somebody you can call that does these kind of things every single day to know exactly where your prices are, but the research is out there. It's on the internet. Now there's YouTube videos, there's channels that you can watch. Car Edge does negotiations live. Tommy from Delivered does negotiations live. You can look up the kind of car that you want to do. I can almost guarantee you Tommy has done that negotiation live somewhere, whether it be on TikTok or on YouTube, and you can find out what the best price you can possibly get on that vehicle just from doing a little bit of research. And because I've done my research, because I was able to even text Tommy and say, look, I'm looking at Odyssey. I know you've done quite a few of them before. What's a good deal? What's a great deal on Odyssey? He said, if you can get 10% off, that is a great deal. So me knowing that, went in there, said that. He said, well, how do you know this? It's because I've done my research. So after I circled it twice and he went back, they came back, and we were $500 apart. That's the amount we were apart. So I said, I mean, we knew we would have paid that for it, but I had to win. So I said, you know what? I hate to run you. I didn't even say that. I don't care if you ran. I don't know what I said. I don't know if I was trying to be funny or whatever. I said, okay, $50,000, baby. I think you were ready to go at 50,500 though, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I said $50,000. Take it to your sales manager. I will literally buy it. And you have to emphasize this when you're negotiating. I will literally buy this van right this second. And I think then again he asked, okay, how are you paying? You paying cash? Are you financing? What are you doing? And I said, don't worry about that. We have to get numbers done before we even go to that next step. And he said, okay. And he took it back. And I thought it was going to be done. I think I probably could have got it at 50 grand if I would have pushed. But I at this point, I actually felt bad for this this young man. I know he's a salesperson. I shouldn't feel bad for him. But he had 12 kids, and I don't know how he hadn't sold a car all month, and I had to help him out. And so he came back and he said, all right, $50,250. They said they'll sell it right now. And I still, as many kids, he had 29 kids. And as bad as I felt for him, I said, you know what? Make me feel like I'm a winner and do it. 50,200 and I'll take it. And he just put his hand out and shook it. And then at that point, I knew he got me, because he probably went back to a sales manager, and the sales manager said, you know what? We'll sell it for $50,000, but just try to squeeze just a little bit more out of them. So that's probably what happened. And so they got an extra $200 out of me that they probably shouldn't have. But anyway, that's what we paid for it. We got a Honda Odyssey Elite. The initial price with everything was $57,000. And then out the door, I ended up paying $50,200. We were able to pay cash for it, so we didn't have to use financing or anything to get a better deal. That's what we did. And we were actually, the negotiation process was very quick. And I was very surprised about that, because the last time we were in a new car dealership, we were still buying a used car, but this was 6 years ago. I mean, we were in there for, oh my goodness, it had to be like 2 hours before we were even done with numbers. And then I left, and then they called me back on the way home. Was like, okay, we'll take your money. So I had to do all the negotiation for however long it was, 2 hours, whatever. And then we left. We were willing to leave. And then on the way home, they called us and said, okay, we'll take your money. So that was not the same case with this Honda dealership. So we were very grateful about that. But we got all the add-ons taken off. We got 10% off of MSRP plus $200. I'll say it. And also I tipped the young man $100. I don't know if I'm supposed to tip a car. I don't know. I have no clue. But I felt bad for him still. And he had 36 kids, and I felt like he needed that $100. And the negotiation that I took off of it probably took a little bit down off his commission too, and I didn't want him to have to suffer for it. So anyway, Honda Elite top package, whatever, we paid $50,000, $200, $50,200 out the door, paid cash. We love it so far. How do you like it, baby?
I think it's pretty great. It does have a lot of bells and whistles I don't care about, but the safety features are pretty nice to have and noticeable. They're much better than I was anticipating. And I want to say too, really, the dealer, the whole experience there was really great, and we thought the guy was really nice. Brandon has lots of jokes, but really, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, we were surprised how easy it was. And I don't think that's going to be the case typically. The only caveat that I would say is that they knew I was a car dealer just a little bit into the negotiation. So I don't know if that made it easier for us. So that's the only thing that I'll say that maybe we possibly had an advantage over just the normal person walking in. But everything else that we did, you can do yourself. You can do your research before. You can know exactly how much you need to pay for this car. You know what a great deal is on the vehicle that you're trying to buy. You can say that I will buy it right now if the numbers work, and you can be willing to leave. I think that last part is the biggest one, and why we got so much knocked off of it. right in the beginning is because we literally walked out and we were ready to. We had our hand on the door, and we were going to the next dealership. So I think that was the biggest tool as far as us being able to get the deal that we got. I think we can go to a couple questions though, and see what we got. You got any questions for me, baby?
Let's see. You've answered some of them. So let me peek through. Yes, you answered cash, out the door price. Here's one. Why would you buy a car at the beginning of the month instead of the end of the month? I'm surprised.
Yeah, we were surprised about that too. So we were not expecting to buy this van. We weren't expecting them to work with us at all. And we were, if we were going to get a deal, it was going to be at our number. And if you go in there, you can go in any time of the month. And if you know exactly what you're willing to pay for the car and what you're willing to, and what a great deal on the car is. So we were willing to not buy. We weren't expecting to buy. We were expecting to test drive it, know that we wanted the van, and then leave. But because they were able to get the number minus $200 that we wanted, that's why we bought. We were not expecting to buy. I will say that, I mean, NYC guy, 100% right. You will be able to pinch certain dealers if they haven't made their numbers yet at the end of the month. Now, it's all going to depend on them hitting their numbers, and this is something that you're never going to know. But 100% right. In most cases, dealerships are going to be more negotiable at the end of the month than they are at the beginning of the month. And this is one thing too. I said to the salesperson, I was like, this surprised us greatly. I was saying it to this young guy that I would think that we would have to wait to the end of the month to be able to get a deal like this. And he said, yeah, normally you would, but I guess my sales manager felt like it was just really slow today. And I could see it was slow today. They had like how many salespeople they had standing around?
I think we counted something close to 10. I mean, I don't know how many were outside.
Yeah, so they were dead. So I think they just needed to make a sale, and that's why they were working with us. So just go in. You can go in any time of the month, look at something. If you know what you want, if you know what you want to pay for it, it doesn't matter when during the month it is, but you will have a better likelihood of getting the number that you want, or a great deal at the end of the month versus the beginning of the month. So yes, I do agree with you, and it just kind of fell in our lap. So we were expecting to wait, but they were very negotiable, so we didn't have to wait. Next question.
One more note on that. I was listening to Car Edge or Ray and Zach show today, and they were talking about that, of how they were finding, surprisingly, with the deals that they're running, multiple really good negotiations at the beginning of the month. And I think it was Zach was saying that he thinks that it might be because of a lower than expected Memorial Day turnout. So like they're maybe a little worried. Not Honda specifically, but just in general.
In this Honda dealership, they only had I think 3 Elites, but they had like 13 total Odysseys that were on their website. So they had stock. So you got to find the dealership that's got the vehicles that you want and has multiple of them. Now, if you go to a Honda dealership and they literally have one Odyssey sitting on the ground, they're going to be less negotiable on it. But we might just hit them at the right time. Maybe they just got to ship it. They had 13 of these vans and they were ready to get rid of one. But it just kind of fell to us. But I'm 100% on board with you. End of the month is going to be a better time to buy a car than the beginning of the
month. When doing your research, did you also look at the reviews and reputation of that particular dealership?
We did not. Now I've dealt with this this dealership group before. And what'd you say?
I said you didn't. I looked before, no, like when we sat down, and they had a really good review on number on Google.
Here's the thing. I think with a lot of dealerships, especially big dealer groups, they know how to get reviews, and they're selling new cars. And the second that we were done with this salesperson, gave us great experience. He was out there getting the tag on everything. He said, now, did you like the service that I gave you? Well, obviously, yes. We were really happy with how he treated us and everything. And it's not going to be every case that you like your salesperson that you're working with, but a lot of times people getting in a brand new car, they're in the honeymoon phase with the car. They're happy, right? They're getting this brand new car. So that's the exact time when they're going to ask you for the review. So take the reviews at these franchise dealerships with a grain of salt, because if they have a lot of reviews, then they know how to get reviews. And that's when you ask for reviews, when the customer is the happiest, they're more likely to give that 5-star review right there at that moment. And that's when he asked us. So, so take those reviews with a grain of salt. I think with used car dealers, you can use the reviews from Google as more of a telltale sign if a dealership's good or not. But with franchise dealers, I don't think you can really use them. There's also, I mean, they can buy reviews too. I mean, there's ways around getting yourself out of negative reviews from a franchise dealership standpoint, especially when they got a lot of money, they got a lot of people that work there, they do a lot of deals. Yeah, so grain of salt with reviews.
Okay, but I have seen larger businesses with the lower rating, so it just means that it has to average higher, and I think they were at 4.7 or 4.8, so it's at least not something that's going to rule them out. So I think that's something that's important. But we were familiar with this area; we've been around them for a while, so it was not a dealership we knew nothing about.
All right, what else do we got?
One more. Okay, last question then.
No, you're not supposed to tell them last question, because then you just lost half our audience right there.
I was telling you last question, so nobody else.
They can hear what you're saying.
Oh, okay. If you want to do another question afterwards, we can. I suggested.
You know what? We're going to do 50 questions after this question.
We don't have 50 questions. I just bought a Tesla. I was at the delivery center for 15 minutes. Do you see manufacturers going to this style of transaction?
No, because you can't buy from manufacturers. There's so many laws that are put in place that protect all these dealerships from still being the middleman between manufacturer and consumer. The reason why Tesla can do it is because they've never had a dealership actually set up. I know there's a lot of people that will call these the distribution centers Tesla dealerships. And I mean, in a way they kind of are, but they're all owned by Tesla. They're not franchise dealers. So the second that Tesla opens up one franchise, they'll never will, but then they'll have to abide by these laws that govern a lot of these the manufacturers as far as the pass through these franchise dealerships. So no, there is if anything changes, it's going to be a very, very long time, and it's going to have to be Congress that really changes a lot. And the problem with that is there's a lot of politicians that have their hands in dealerships. They have ownership. They have family that own dealerships. So nothing's going to change. There's too much money. There's too much money in it, and there's too much money in wrapped up in the lobbyists, the donations that they get from a lot of these dealerships, and a lot of them have ownership or what's the word I'm trying, some kind of vested I can't think of the word, interest. That's the word I'm trying to look for, interest in these dealerships. So it's not going to change. You're going to need some new companies to pop up and do the same route as Tesla to make things change, whether you have like somewhere like BYD come in here and have the same kind of model, but that's probably not going to happen, especially if it's coming from a Chinese company. I don't see that happening, because they're just going to tax the crap out of it to protect the U.S. Manufacturers. We're a long way away from that, and CarEdge is trying to make things a little bit different. I am trying to go the route where we can buy some newer used vehicles and get them to consumers online with a more transparent model. But I'm small. CarEdge, as big as they are, they're tiny. They're still small. So it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of growth from people like me, like Zach, like CarEdge, to be able to change the system. And I fear it's going to take a massive company to be able to change the game, and I don't see it happening anytime soon. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.